Howdy, Joe here. And I saw something the other day that was quite offensive and filthy. And I gotta speak up about it, you know? Um, the alleged leader of the free world shat upon citizens in the public realm like a shitstorm from an asshole as a public experience. Kind of appalling, eh? And kind of disgusting. And a pretty low bar for public discourse. Um, anyways, I'm kind of ashamed of my silence and I should figure out a way to speak up. And how does one speak up? Well, partly I'm a Canadian citizen, so I'm not really part of the Washington set. Uh, but I'm a bit of a classic scholar. You know, I am acquainted with history. And like I know uh Plutarch's Lives, um, some bios, uh, and a bit about Montaigne and what it is to be a person, you know, how to use your voice, and lots of other things. Anyways, I mentioned Plutarch, and I kind of got Cicero in mind. He was a young man who hit the Capitol uh, with not much more than his voice and was looking around classic Rome for an opportunity to exercise his eloquence. And he tackled a public scandal and spoke for a young man who was being robbed by a conspiracy. Um, but Trump's cartoon of a king in a jet spewing shit on citizens. Wow, what a defilement. And what a rotten rich kid thinking he's entitled to view and treat other people, not just with contempt, but with defilement as an exercise of arrogance. Like, anyway, um, so Cicero hit Rome and he began to advocate and in front of the court, in front of the Senate, stating over and over again public crimes by public people and why so many give a tacit consent to barbarity and not just incompetence, but stupid on purpose kind of thing. Like, so anyways, Supreme Court, stateside, 9 judges who've been giving this guy a blank check, unchecked, an abdication of checks and balances, as in his reno. Where are his permits? Where are his plans? Where is permissions? Ah, excuse a, that's subdiplomatic, eh? Um, okay. So if the court countenances defilement of the public and the citizens, so much public contempt, how can you prosecute contempt of the court if you permit contempt of the realm, of the public realm being spewed with sewage? Thing is this is his second round of shitting in the public realm. The first round was the insurrection that he fomented and raged and whipped up. And the shitstorm in the House of the Citizens, that shitstorm, that defilement was intentional too. So this is like strike 2 from Trump for shit. And he's got more planned. Yeah? Unprecedented behavior might invite customized responses. Bone Spurs skipped the draft, didn't know about KP or latrines, but his rotten rich kid shtick seems to indicate to me he's played latrine obscenities before. So maybe you could do with a dipping in one. See how it feels. Just as a comment on why the tourism is down, it isn't just that he's a rapist and that the department store, Bergdorf Goodman's, is just like a block away from Trump Tower, like in between Trump Tower and the plaza. He steps out and into a dressing room. But that just, it ain't just that labels him a rapist, but his times with Epstein. And opening up the file is a necessary thing for numerous reasons. Um, Epstein got a very, very light sentence in Florida, work release daytime and check in overnight for the cell for a year. Would he trade? The Florida DA got some blackmail material for some other interesting people because that's what Epstein was running, a catalog of blackmail material and extortion, mobster stuff, secrets, and mockery. It ain't just the rape, it's the fuckery of it, the contemptuous domination, subjugation, trivialization, spewing shit. So there was the Florida archive of multiple vectors of blackmail. There was the New York archive that's also attached to um, J.P. Morgan and Chase and Deutsche Bank, um, the townhouse up by the Met. But there's also material in Britain, Europe, elsewhere, Israel. Um, and he's not the only one who was doing those sorts of things. And there's multiple vectors that are being concealed. So opening the files and getting honest about human sexuality, uh, like the new Chase building um, on Park Avenue over the tracks. Maybe they could have a floor that gives a nod to the Epstein archives. Uh, from the point of view of Barbara Streisand's Nuts, uh, about how much corruption there is in our culture and how status of exclusion and subjugation turns into a different kind of slavery. Enslavers. You don't have slaves without slavers. Lots of things we could talk about. Hey, I'm offended at being splashed by shit from an asshole. I can say that. There'll be more. But enough for now. Okay? Ciao.